What is going on, everybody? Micah's back with another video, back here to talk about my first impressions setting up, playing with the Google Pixel 7 Pro. Yes, as you guys saw in my previous video, we had the black bag, emptied it out. We was given the box for it, right? This beautiful box right here. If you could just focus on it. Ooh, there it is, hit that spot, bam. That hazel, man, that's a nice color, right? I really, really like this color. I wish they also said it on the box. They do on the back, hazel. It's the 128 gigabyte model, of course, comes in at 6.7 inches. How have I been enjoying the actual phone? But if you guys want to get that quick close up here, of course, I might have shot some B-roll for it because I'm kind of in the mood, my camera set up for it. This phone has been a joy to use. Now I could have kept it on my Samsung Galaxy devices, of course. Look at that screen, that's how I have mine set up right now. Was able to eliminate the icon labels for my folders over here. I wish you could do that overall because it would give it that much more of a clean aesthetic. But yes, it's been about 15 to 18 hours since I did that last video. Set it up, the process is very simple, very straightforward. Some of the differences is more Google specific in terms of the Pixel and wanting to set it up with Google Assistant, things of that nature. But the lift awake is what I was talking about right before that. Lovely feature, being able to lift it up, look at it, and it really works well with the always on display. And that's one of the things that immediately kind of gravitates your attention and just captivates you, like bam. So that's one of the things I really enjoyed, that I really liked right off the bat with the Pixel 7 Pro. Also the size, to me, it feels like it's slightly slimmer than the Galaxy S22 Ultra, and it is shorter than the Galaxy. It's overall smaller than the S22 Ultra. Now correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the Ultra comes in at 6.8 inches, so that's probably why. And it is lighter as well, despite feeling the more top heaviness with the camera visor, if you will, the Nexus 6P look. I'm glad that they kept that because that was probably the most beloved Nexus phone from them because it was also the best phone that they had. And a phone I never got the experience, but it's lighter, it feels good in the hands. For me, I'm still adjusting to the side the side button profile, if it will allow you guys to see it there. I'm getting used to the button layout and where it's at, because on Samsung devices, the power button is the first button you feel, and then higher up is the volume rockers. And I actually like that setup because if you accidentally press a button, it's the power button, and well, it's good and bad. I've never actually really hit the button by accident, but they figure you prefer to accidentally hit that over the volume buttons, because if you're listening to something, then the volume shoots up on you because you're accidentally pressing the button, as opposed to just powering on and off the device in your pocket. Whereas here, one could argue that the power button is slightly higher than where it is on a Samsung device. So you might still have that same situation, but the volume rockers are much lower on here. And for the Pro device being taller, it does help with handability. Being able to access the buttons with no problems and not having to do hand, gymnastics to reach things. The other thing that I liked about the visor is the hand placement. Using a finger to place right there, right? Oops, and I activated the double tap feature, which I also love. I use it for my wallet, my G wallet, which I also like. I was using that as well on Samsung because the Samsung wallet does not allow cash cards. So I had to switch over to the G wallet in the meantime. But that visor is very good place to rest your hand, whether you want to rest it more horizontally or as a finger, just one finger, the fingertip. So that way you can access things without feeling like you're going to drop your phone. That's one of the things I actually like as well. There is an additional feature to this camera visor. What else have I liked about it? Again, this colorway, the gold, it's kind of my first gold phone as well, or gold accented phone. Heavily accented, if you will, because of the visor and the frame being so elegantly designed and in unison. I like that, and the hazel, that gray, green, green, gray look it's just pleasing overall. One of the things I've noticed in terms of hardware, if you will, before we get into the software, is speakers. Speakers are good, but they're not as good as the S22 Ultra, or for that matter, even the Z Flip 4. What do I mean by that? The priority or the focus for the speakers on the 7 Pro, at least in my unit's case, maybe everybody else is different, but it's bottom heavy. So you're getting more oomph from the bottom speakers than you are from the top speakers. So I feel like there's a bit of imbalance going on there. And it sounds great when you're holding it in portrait mode. Actually, to tell you the truth, you get more of the sound in portrait mode. But as soon as you flip to landscape mode, you feel and hear more of the sound dedicated towards the right or wherever your bottom is facing. And although there's still sound coming from the top of the phone speaker, you definitely feel it's more weighted towards the bottom of the phone. And so it's a little bit harder to watch landscape-based content because of that. It feels so sonically weird. Whereas other devices that I've experienced is way more balanced in terms of both speakers being prioritized. I cannot find a Dolby Atmos option on this phone. If you guys can help me out in the comment section, go ahead. I don't know if they even have that option on here. Maybe they just feel like they have them tuned well. I would like Dolby Atmos to be part of it, where you can turn it on and also additionally get better sound. Now they do have adaptive sound, which kind of adjusts the sound according to your environment. Maybe that could potentially help with that. I do have that on, but I definitely noticed that in terms of the sound. What else? The cameras. Only taking a couple shots, to tell you the truth. It's been nighttime. I've been setting it up. I've been taking pictures of the device with my other devices. So I have yet to actually really dive into the Google's, ingenuity when it comes to the cameras. Best believe though, we're gonna have some content rolling out, and I think I'm gonna do that in stages of 1080p content and 4K content, so that way you guys can see the difference between the two and see just how well both of those are. And I'm really interested to try out cinematic mode. That may also be a dedicated video, so be on the lookout for that as well. Now, wrapping all that up, how does the hardware play with the software? Well, it's Google, it's Android 13 to be exact, and it has been phenomenal during the setup process. I did have like a 79 megabyte update waiting to crush bugs and to update a few things, which I believe also included a security patch for October, I believe. Now the Google System Play updates for this is still stuck on July, and you will get notified of that when you go into your security settings. I don't know if it's just because this is either a reviewer unit specific scenario, or they just haven't issued out that update to the devices yet. I'm not mad about it necessarily, but it will be nice to also have that up to date as well on this device. Software updates in terms of all the apps, beautiful. I'm talking about fast downloading process, fast installation process for the apps. One of the things I noticed on Samsung devices is it takes a little bit longer to install the apps on the, to install the update after it's downloaded, whereas here it installs moderately faster. So I won't say nitpicking, I just noticed that when I'm watching my apps update, because when you start up a phone, you got like 60 updates because all the apps need to update. And watching them, they install so much faster than Samsung. So that's something that I kind of forget sometimes that I'm dealing with a Pixel device as opposed to like a Samsung device. I'm always gonna reference back to Samsung because that's the ecosystem I live in. But Samsung, OnePlus, Essential, if I go way back, right? LG, you download the software update, then to install it, the device has to power off and then install, whereas on a Pixel device, it will install while it's still on, and then you just reboot it, and then it'll do some incremental fine-tuning optimization, but it boots back on really fast. So something I have to get used to, but it is actually a good thing overall. I also like having my Google button back down at the bottom, something I wish Samsung or other properties would allow you to do. You can with third-party launchers like Nova and whatnot, but I would definitely like the fact that it's back at the bottom where I have more space up at the top. Now, I will caveat that with the at a glance. Now I turned it off because I don't like a lot of redundancy on my phone. So if I have time, I'm not gonna try to have time up here, although the time up there in the notification panel is kind of useful when you're not looking at your home screen. So I will be a little redundant there, but in terms of weather and all that, it's a pet peeve of mine. So I turned it off, and I don't mind because I don't have a lot of stuff going on that I need to be notified of in the at a glance, but I wish it didn't take the entire space up. I wish this area could also be used, because then I could also then orient other widgets and whatnot. So I will say that's like a small little nitpick that I have in terms of at a glance, but I do like it still overall. And how I have it set up right now is with a weather widget that takes up most of that up at the top. Could have did apps, but I was like, you know what, I want my weather front and center so I can see what my weather's gonna look like throughout the day, and I like that. And I don't know if I can give you guys a very good look. If I just turn the phone that way, I got so much light on it so you probably can't tell, but that is that in terms of software. In terms of connecting to other devices, right now we're gonna get into this in another video, the Pixel Watch. But connecting to and setting up the Pixel Watch is a joy, and I'm thinking I'm gonna have a similar experience if I get my hands on the Pixel Buds Pro as well. So that's something that I'm definitely looking forward to. One of the things that I just hope that they continue to get worked on is widgets overall for Android. As we see, Apple has now implemented widgets and they look and work flawlessly, it appears. I have not noticed the smart, or what's the other word? Smart widgets. There's another one that they use between Android 12 and Android 13 where you can basically, you know, I don't want to say overlap, but you can combine widgets into one widget space. I have not found that on the Pixel, which means maybe Google has not adopted that feature yet. Samsung has it, so I can have my Google Space search bar, my YouTube Music media player, and my Pocket Cast media player all in one widget, taken in one place, and I just swipe between them. Have not found that on here yet. Maybe it will come in Android 14. Who knows? But that's also a feature I'm going to miss. But just space-wise, in terms of widgets, that's one thing I just hope that continues to get improved. Now, the Recorder app allows you to be able to transcribe like seamlessly when there's talking going on, and I believe that feature is actually supposed to roll out later this year or soon to really, you know, optimize that feature for the Recorder app. So I am going to be looking forward to using that because I'm in the electrical space now in terms of employment, and in order to try to understand things, if not in that moment, at a later time, I'm going to have to remember what was said, so that way I can do my own research on that later on, and that's a feature that I'm looking forward to using real world case scenario, you know what I'm saying? Now overall, how has battery life been? Well, I like the fact that Google has a battery life widget that I have on one of my home pages, and currently sitting, it's at 61%. I think I took this off the charger around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. So it's been over 12 hours, I think somewhere around 13 hours since taking off the charger. I'm at 61% after 13 hours of a bunch of using, setting up apps and all that type of stuff. Battery life is phenomenal on the Pixel 7 Pro. So that is something I can definitely say without a shadow of a doubt, that the battery life is going to be great, and it's only going to get better probably each day before it finds its plateau. And that's a good sign. Battery life is going to be great on here. In comparison to Samsung's devices, of course, I could say it's worlds better than the Z Flip 4. I will say after the most recent update with the Z Flip 4, I feel like battery life may have actually taken a hit and may have degraded some. I'm still kind of working that out, but it does feel like it's degraded a little bit. And then with the Ultra's battery life has been relatively good as well, despite running One UI 5 beta. So with those two pieces of information to compare against this, just out of the box, charging it up, taking it off, you're going 12, 13, 14 hours later, and I'm still at 61% despite being on the phone like crazy, watching a ton of YouTube this morning and doing a bunch of Twitter, tweeting and reacting and commenting, such and so forth. Wow, this is really good battery life. So everything falls into a great place for Google in terms of their vision for Android and their vision for themselves and their ecosystem, because up until pretty much the Pixel 6, they were kind of all over the place with Pixel 1 through Pixel 4. Pixel 5 felt like it was part of the A series. But it was considered like their flagship model. Only one size, I believe, and the price was so significantly low that it threw people off. Like, okay, what is Google doing? Then the Pixel 6 came. Very similar look to this. I think smaller visor. Had two-tone color on the back. Had problems though, software-wise, a lot of bugs that was getting squashed without time. Face unlock never came to it as well, and fingerprint sensor issues for some people. Side note, fingerprint sensor, beautiful on here. I have not had no problems with it. If anything, I probably had more problems with face unlock, but that's just because of lighting. But the Pixel 6 never got it, even though it was supposed to come. Maybe it will come, but it never got it. But the look and the feel of Android was there, and I think that's what people finally started having hope in. And nonetheless, here with the Pixel 7 Pro, or the Pixel 7 series rather, we get that consistent feel and vibe with much improved software and, for the most part, hardware. And I think they got something that they're finally able to build on here with the Pixel 7 Pro. So be on the lookout for more of my information, more of my updates, more of my experience down the road. This is my first impressions about the 7 Pro, and I'm about to get into the Pixel Watch next. So stay tuned, guys. But as always, you guys haven't already, make sure you guys ignite the like button, subscribe to the channel, that notification bell so I miss my videos on my live streams. So we sit back, relax, see what's cracking. I don't know why I said live streams. I don't live stream on this channel. But your man Micah signing out until the next video. Wait for it.